Success is never given. It is trained into your daily actions. That single truth can change the way you look at your life. Too many people wait for the big break, the perfect moment, or a lucky chance, but real progress doesn't work that way. It's built in the way you think, the way you act, and the habits you practice long before the results show up. Ask yourself, what would happen if you started showing up today as the person you want to become tomorrow? What if you carried yourself with discipline, confidence, and focus even before anyone else believed in you? Human psychology is clear. When you repeat the actions of success, your mind begins to accept them as reality, and slowly, the outside world matches your inner standard. In the next chapters, you'll learn how to shape your daily choices so deeply that success is no longer temporary, it becomes who you are. Chapter 1. Act organized every day until success feels natural. Friend, success is not something that shows up out of nowhere. It is built step by step, and one of the most overlooked steps is organization. When you act organized every day, you begin to take control of your life, instead of your life controlling you. Success may look complicated from a distance, but when you break it down, it is simply the result of small daily choices, repeated with intention. Organization is the structure that gives you room to grow, room to think, room to move forward without being trapped by chaos. Think about how you feel when your environment is messy, when your plans are unclear and your priorities are scattered. The human mind becomes heavy, cluttered, and distracted. You start forgetting important things. You move from one thing to another without finishing what you started. And at the end of the day, you are exhausted, not because you worked hard, but because you worked without order. That is the cost of disorganization. It steals your focus, your energy, and your confidence. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine walking into a space where everything is in place. Your tasks are written down, your calendar is clear, and you know exactly what needs to be done. The mental weight is gone. You feel lighter, you breathe easier. Your mind is free to focus on the work itself instead of the chaos around it. That is the gift of acting organized. Even before you feel naturally organized, you can choose to act like it. And by acting organized every single day, you train your mind and body to live in order until success feels like the natural result. Organization is not just about neat desks and color-coded files. It is about clarity of thought, clarity of purpose, and clarity of direction. When you are organized, you no longer waste energy searching for lost papers, lost time, or lost opportunities. You create a system that works for you instead of working against you. The first step is simple. Decide what matters most in your life and write it down. Don't keep it in your head. The mind is for creating ideas, not for storing endless lists. Use a notebook, a planner, or even a simple sheet of paper. When you act organized in this way, you send a signal to yourself that your life matters, that your goals matter, that your time matters. When I talk about acting organized, I'm not just talking about physical spaces or schedules. I'm also talking about your thoughts, your conversations, your relationships. A successful person organizes not only their work, but also their energy. They choose carefully what to focus on and what to let go of. They know when to say yes and when to say no. Acting organized means creating order in the way you spend your hours, but also in the way you manage your emotions. If you wake up frustrated, disorganized in your thoughts, and chaotic in your feelings, your day will spiral out of control. But if you wake up and take time to plan, to prepare, and to organize your state of mind, your day will unfold with clarity. Every morning is a new chance to act organized. Begin with small, simple actions. Make your bed, clean up your desk, write down 3 important tasks for the day. These little acts may not seem powerful, but they build a foundation. The brain begins to see order, and the emotions begin to feel calm. When you act organized in small ways, it becomes easier to handle the big challenges that come later in the day. The truth is, people often wait to feel successful before they act like it. But the law of life says the opposite. You must act first. If you want to feel natural at success, begin by acting as though success already demands order from you. Organization teaches discipline. Discipline teaches focus, and focus builds results. When you have results, you begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, your confidence grows. All of this starts with the decision to act organized every single day. Success becomes natural because your mind is no longer distracted by noise. It is free to create, to solve, to build. Now, here is something important. Disorganization is not only about things outside of you, it can also be inside of you. Think about the times when your thoughts run in 10 directions, when you worry about tomorrow while trying to finish today, when you regret yesterday while planning for next week. That mental disorganization destroys focus. Acting organized in this case means training your mind to bring order to your thoughts. Write down your worries, write down your plans, and separate what you can control from what you cannot. When you do this, the mind becomes free to work on what matters. This is not about being perfect. It is about creating enough order for progress to take place. People who act organized attract trust. If you show up on time, if you keep your promises, if you prepare before you speak, others notice. They feel your reliability. They feel your seriousness. This is how opportunities come your way. Nobody wants to give responsibility to someone who is always late, always scattered, always forgetting. But people love to work with someone who has order, who respects time, and who respects others. Acting organized builds a reputation of dependability, and reputation opens doors that talent alone cannot. Some people think success is about waiting for the right break, but it is often about creating the right impression. When you act organized, you show the world that you are ready, that you can be trusted with bigger things. It might start with something simple like keeping your workspace neat, returning calls on time, or preparing for a meeting the night before. These small acts of organization signal to others that you are serious. Over time, they begin to see you as successful, even before you see yourself that way. And once others treat you as successful, your own mind begins to believe it too. There will be days when you do not feel like being organized. Your energy may be low, your mind may be tired, but those are the days that matter the most. Because acting organized when you don't feel like it builds the strongest discipline. That is when you prove to yourself that you are in charge, not your mood, not your laziness, not your excuses. Success is not built on how we feel in the moment. It is built on the choices we make despite the moment. So, what does it really mean to act organized every day? It means you decide in advance what matters. It means you place things where they belong. It means you plan your day instead of drifting through it. It means you prepare before opportunities arrive. It means you live with intention, not reaction. These are simple acts, but their effect is enormous. They create order. And order gives birth to confidence. Confidence creates consistency, and consistency produces success. One of the best rewards of acting organized is peace of mind. When you know where things are, when you know what needs to be done, when you know you are prepared, stress decreases, anxiety fades. Instead of worrying, you start working. Instead of being distracted, you start producing. This peace of mind is not only good for your results, but it is also good for your health. A disorganized life creates stress. Stress destroys energy, and without energy, success is impossible. Acting organized gives you the energy to keep moving. Over time, something powerful happens. What began as acting organized becomes living organized. It becomes natural. You no longer have to force yourself to plan, to prepare, to put things in order. It becomes who you are. And once that happens, success flows more easily. You no longer fight against yourself. Your mind and your actions are aligned. That is the true reward of acting successful until you become successful. You train your mind and body until the act becomes reality. Now the question is, will you choose to act organized today? Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Because every day you delay, you strengthen the habit of disorganization. But every day you choose order, you strengthen the habit of success. Habits are built one action at a time, and habits build destiny. Act organized every day until success feels natural. Begin with small steps. Stay consistent. Over time, you will notice that what once felt like effort now feels like ease. What once felt like acting now feels like being. That is the journey of transformation. That is how you create the life you want. Success will not feel strange anymore. It will feel like the only way to live. Chapter 2. Act confident in public until people believe in you. Confidence is one of the greatest tools a person can carry in life. It shapes the way people see you, the way they respond to you, and even the way opportunities find their way into your life. When you step into public spaces, whether it's a meeting, a classroom, a stage, or even a conversation with strangers, your confidence speaks before your words ever do. Acting confident in public is not about pretending to be someone you're not. It is about showing the best version of yourself until others believe it, and, more importantly, until you begin to believe it too. The truth is, most people wait for confidence to appear naturally before they put themselves forward. They say to themselves, "When I feel confident, I'll take the risk. I'll speak up. I'll show who I really am." But that is a mistake. Waiting for confidence is like waiting for a door to open without ever turning the handle. Confidence comes from action. If you act confident, even when you don't fully feel it, you begin to train your mind and body to see yourself as capable. People respond to that energy, and their response reinforces your belief. This is how acting confident in public slowly becomes real confidence. Think about how humans are wired. We often make judgments in the first few seconds of seeing someone. People notice posture, eye contact, tone of voice and presence before they hear your ideas or know your character. If you walk into a room looking uncertain, with your head down, mumbling your words, people may assume you are unprepared or unsure of yourself, even if you are full of knowledge and ability. But if you walk into that same room standing tall, looking people in the eye, speaking clearly, and acting like you belong, people automatically assume you are someone to be respected. That's the psychology of first impressions. Acting confident changes the way the world perceives you before you've proven anything. This doesn't mean arrogance. Arrogance pushes people away. Confidence attracts them. The difference is that true confidence is grounded in calm, clarity, and self-respect. Acting confident in public means carrying yourself with dignity, even when your heart is beating fast and your hands are trembling. Everyone has nerves, everyone feels doubt. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they choose to act in those moments. Do they act small, or do they act confident? The first step is physical. The body sends signals to the mind, and the mind responds. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up, breathe deeply, look around the room with steady eyes. These simple physical actions change your inner state. When your body acts confident, your mind begins to follow. If you walk into public spaces with strength in your posture, people see confidence before you even speak. And when they treat you as confident, you begin to feel it more strongly yourself. The second step is in your voice. Speak clearly. Speak slowly enough that your words carry weight. When you rush, you reveal nerves. When you pause, you show control. A confident voice is not always loud, but it is steady. Practice speaking in a way that others can hear every word. Even if you feel unsure, acting confident with your voice convinces people that you know what you're saying. Over time, their belief feeds your own. The third step is in your preparation. Confidence in public does not come only from appearance, it comes from being ready. If you are about to give a presentation, prepare your material. If you are about to enter a conversation, know the key points you want to make. If you are walking into an interview, review your strengths in advance. Acting confident is easier when you know you've done the work. Even if doubt is whispering, your preparation gives you the right to stand tall. Confidence also grows through exposure. The more you place yourself in public situations, the stronger you become. Every time you act confident in front of others, you build another layer of belief. Think of it like training a muscle. The first time you may feel awkward, stiff, or unnatural. The second time, it becomes easier. The 10th time, it begins to feel normal. By the 100th time, it becomes part of who you are. This is how acting confident in public turns into real confidence that no longer needs effort. Now, there is another layer of psychology at work. People treat you according to the signals you give them. If you act insecure, they may not take you seriously. If you act confident, they often assume you are capable and valuable. This response from others shapes your identity. Humans learn through feedback. When people respond positively to your confidence, your brain begins to record it as proof that you belong. The act becomes belief. But confidence is not only about how others see you. It is also about how you see yourself when you walk away. Every time you act confident in public, even if you feel nervous inside, you leave with the memory that you stood tall, that you spoke up, that you didn't back down. These memories build your inner library of strength. The next time, you can look back and remind yourself, I've done it before, I can do it again. That self-reference is powerful. It builds resilience. Another important point is authenticity. Acting confident does not mean pretending to know everything. It means showing up with assurance even when you admit you don't have all the answers. People respect honesty more than perfection. A person who says, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll find out, with confidence gains more trust than someone who tries to fake knowledge. Confidence is about trustworthiness, not flawless performance. For many people, fear of judgment holds them back. They imagine others are criticizing, mocking, or waiting for them to fail. But the truth is, most people are not thinking about you as much as you imagine. They are too busy thinking about themselves. Realizing this frees you to act confident without worrying about every thought in the room. The more you practice, the more you see that judgment is not as dangerous as your mind makes it. What matters is the impression of strength, not the perfection of delivery. You can build confidence by focusing outward instead of inward. When you walk into a room, instead of thinking, how do I look? What if I fail? What if they reject me? Shift the focus to, how can I add value here? How can I make people feel comfortable? How can I contribute something useful? This shift turns the spotlight from your insecurity to your purpose. Acting confident in public is easier when you are not obsessed with yourself, but with what you can give. People respond positively to someone who is present, attentive, and generous with their attention. Consistency matters. One act of confidence is not enough to change your identity. Daily practice makes it real. Start small. Ask a question in a group. Share your opinion in a meeting. Introduce yourself to someone new. Speak up when you usually stay silent. Each small act of public confidence chips away at fear and builds your strength. Eventually, the fear becomes quiet, and the habit of confidence becomes louder. And here is something most people don't realize. People believe what they see more than what they hear. You can say you're confident, but if your actions show insecurity, they will not believe you. On the other hand, if you act confident through posture, tone, preparation, and consistency, people will believe in you even before you fully believe in yourself. Over time, their belief becomes a mirror. You look into it, and you begin to see the confident person you've been acting as all along. That is when the act has become reality. Confidence is not about never feeling nervous. Everyone feels nervous. Confidence is about moving forward despite nerves, showing the world your best self, and refusing to shrink in public spaces. By acting confident until people believe in you, you create a new identity, one built on courage, preparation, and consistent action. The process is not instant. It takes practice. But the rewards are enormous. People begin to trust you, respect you, and open doors for you. Most importantly, you begin to trust yourself. Every person has moments of doubt, but doubt should not control your actions. Choose to act confident even when you feel uncertain. Over time, uncertainty will fade, and strength will remain. Act confident in public until people believe in you, and then let their belief fuel your own. Soon, you will discover that you are not acting anymore. You are confident, you are capable, and you are ready for every opportunity that comes your way.
Chapter 3. Act disciplined with time until results start showing. Time is the most valuable resource you will ever have, and discipline is the way you protect it. Everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day, but what makes the difference between an average life and a successful life is how those hours are used. Success does not arrive by chance. It arrives because someone took control of their time instead of letting time control them. Acting disciplined with your time is not about being perfect or strict in a way that makes life joyless. It is about making sure every day counts for something meaningful. When you look back at your life, the results you see will always reflect how you used your time. If you spend hours distracted, your results will show that. If you invest hours learning, practicing, working and building, your results will reflect that too. The discipline of time is the bridge between what you dream of and what you actually achieve. Acting disciplined with your time every single day creates patterns of progress that eventually lead to visible results. The first part of acting disciplined with time is awareness. Many people do not realize how much of their day is wasted on things that do not matter. Hours disappear into scrolling, television, meaningless conversations, or activities that have no long-term value. The person who wants success cannot allow time to leak away like that. Discipline begins with paying attention. Where is your time going? What are you spending it on? The truth may surprise you. The smallest leaks create the biggest losses over months and years. Awareness is the first step toward discipline. Once you know where your time is going, the next step is to set clear priorities. Discipline is not about doing everything. Discipline is about doing the right things. A disciplined person knows what matters most and puts energy there. Without priorities, your time will be pulled in 100 directions, and you will feel busy but not productive. Acting disciplined means deciding what tasks truly move your life forward and refusing to waste energy on distractions. When you begin practicing discipline with time, the results may not appear immediately. That is why so many people give up. They think, "I've been disciplined for a week, but nothing has changed." But time discipline is like planting seeds. You don't see the tree overnight, but you trust that every day of care will eventually produce something real. This is why you must act disciplined long before the results show. Success always comes later, but discipline comes first. Another part of acting disciplined with time is building routines. When your day is structured, you waste less energy deciding what to do next. People who lack routine often drift. They let emotions decide their schedule. They wake up late, wonder what to do, get distracted, and before they know it, the day is gone. But someone with a routine acts differently. They wake up with a plan. They know what task comes first, what task follows, and what must be finished before the day ends. Routines create stability. Stability creates progress. A common mistake is thinking that time discipline means cutting out all relaxation or fun. That is not true. Discipline is about balance. You schedule rest the same way you schedule work. You give time to recovery so that your energy stays strong. The difference is that when you act disciplined, even your rest has purpose. You rest to recharge, not to escape. You use downtime wisely, not as a way to waste life away. Acting disciplined with time also means learning the power of saying no. Every request, every invitation, every distraction pulls at your time. If you say yes to everything, you lose control. Discipline means you protect your hours like treasure. You say yes to the opportunities that match your goals, and you say no to the ones that steal your focus. Many people struggle here because they do not want to disappoint others. But if you give your time to everything, you end up disappointing yourself. Discipline requires courage to choose your future over other people's expectations. When you act disciplined with time, you also learn to value small moments. 5 minutes can be wasted, or it can be invested. Read a page of a book, write down your goals, review your progress, stretch your body, or call someone important. Each small disciplined actions, repeated, turn wasted minutes into meaningful growth. Never underestimate the power of small disciplined choices. They compound, and over months and years, they create results that look impossible to those who did not practice discipline. One of the biggest challenges in building time discipline is fighting procrastination. The human mind often looks for comfort, delay, or avoidance. You tell yourself you'll start later, tomorrow or next week, but time discipline says you start now. You do not wait for perfect conditions. You do not wait until you feel like it. You act. Success belongs to those who act even when they don't feel ready. Every time you choose action over delay, you build the muscle of discipline. There is also the matter of focus. Acting disciplined with time requires that you train your attention. Modern life is full of distractions. Notifications, messages, noise and interruptions steal your minutes constantly. A disciplined person controls these distractions. They put the phone aside. They close unnecessary tabs. They set boundaries. They give full attention to the task at hand. This kind of focus multiplies productivity. What takes an undisciplined person 3 hours, a disciplined person can finish in 1. Discipline with time is not about working endlessly. It is about working effectively. Another important truth is accountability. Discipline grows stronger when you hold yourself accountable. Track your time. Write down what you did today. Look honestly at where you lost focus. When you act disciplined, you face the truth daily. If you wasted hours, admit it and correct it tomorrow. Accountability keeps you honest. Without it, the mind finds excuses. With it, the mind stays sharp and committed. Now think about how people view you when you are disciplined with time. They see reliability. They see professionalism. They see someone who respects themselves enough to use their hours wisely. People trust you more. They want to work with you. They want to invest in you. Because discipline with time reflects discipline in character. It shows maturity, responsibility and strength. Public respect often follows private discipline. Time discipline also frees you. When your schedule is in order, you don't live in constant stress. You don't scramble to finish tasks at the last moment. You don't panic over deadlines. Instead, you live with control. You know what has been done, and you know what is coming next. This freedom creates peace of mind. It allows you to think bigger, to be creative, and to enjoy life while staying productive. That is the reward of discipline. But remember this: results take time. At first, you may feel the discipline without seeing the reward. You may wake early, plan carefully, work consistently, and still not see much change. But success is delayed gratification. Results are slow at the beginning, but they grow faster over time. Every disciplined day adds to the foundation. Eventually, the results become visible. Others will notice your progress, your improvement, your success, and they will call you disciplined. But by then, discipline will not feel forced. It will feel natural, because you have been acting disciplined until it became who you are. This process requires patience. Many people quit because they expect instant results, but discipline is about trust. Trust the process. Trust that every hour invested is shaping your future. Trust that results come to those who do not waste their time. Patience is part of discipline. Without it, you give up before the results appear. With it, you keep moving until the results are undeniable. Acting disciplined with time will test you. There will be days you want to relax instead of work, sleep instead of rise, drift instead of plan. But those are the days that matter most. Every choice on those days strengthens or weakens your character. Success does not belong to those who act disciplined only when they feel like it. It belongs to those who act disciplined even when it is hard. Every person has the same 24 hours. The question is not how much time you have, but how you use it. Will you act disciplined until the results show? Will you protect your hours like treasure? Will you choose progress over distraction? Your future depends on the answer. When you act disciplined with time, results will not just appear in your work. They will show up in your health, your relationships, your confidence, and your opportunities. Life rewards those who respect time. Success follows those who act with discipline. And the beauty is that once you build the habit, it becomes easier. What once felt like effort becomes second nature. Acting disciplined becomes being disciplined. And when that happens, results become part of your daily life. Time is life. Discipline is the way you honor it. Act disciplined with time until the results start showing. And keep going until discipline becomes natural and results become inevitable. That is how ordinary days turn into extraordinary achievements. That is how you build the future you dream of.
Chapter 4. Act financially smart until money works for you. Money is a tool not just for survival, but for freedom, options, and security. Yet, so many people treat money as if it controls them rather than something they can control. To live successfully, you must learn to act financially smart until money begins to work for you. Acting financially smart does not mean you already have a large income, a big savings account, or multiple investments. It means you develop the discipline, the mindset, and the habits that treat money with respect, no matter how much you currently have. Over time, these habits grow, and eventually money becomes your servant instead of your master. The starting point of acting financially smart is awareness. Most people spend without thinking. They swipe a card, click a button, or hand over cash without asking themselves whether the purchase adds value to their future. A financially smart person stops to ask, is this necessary? Is this useful? Does this purchase bring me closer to financial freedom or pull me further away? The act of asking these questions changes your relationship with money. Even if your income is modest, awareness makes you smarter than those who ignore where their money goes. Budgeting is not glamorous, but it is powerful. Acting financially smart means you give every dollar a purpose.
You decide in advance what goes to needs, what goes to growth, what goes to savings, and what goes to enjoyment. Without a plan, money disappears quickly. With a plan, even small amounts add up. You don't need to wait until you're wealthy to act financially smart. You begin with whatever you have, no matter how small, and build the discipline of directing your money instead of chasing after it once it's gone. Savings is the first stage of making money work for you. Many people spend everything they earn, and when an emergency arrives, they panic. A financially smart person always keeps a portion aside, even if it's 5% at the start. The habit matters more than the amount. Saving teaches discipline. Saving teaches patience. Saving teaches self-respect. You are saying to yourself, my future matters enough to protect it today. Over time, the saved money becomes a cushion. It reduces stress. It gives you options, and options are the beginning of freedom. But savings alone is not enough. Inflation and rising costs will eat away at money that only sits idle. To truly make money work for you, you must invest. Acting financially smart means you learn how to multiply your money instead of simply storing it. This does not mean gambling or chasing quick profits. It means studying, understanding, and making careful choices in areas like business, real estate, or the stock market. You may start small, but small investments compound over years into powerful results. The key is not how much you invest at the beginning, but that you begin at all. Debt is another area where acting financially smart makes a difference. Not all debt is equal. Some debt traps you, like credit cards or unnecessary loans. Other debt can be strategic, like a loan that funds education or builds a business. Financially smart people understand this difference. They avoid destructive debt and use strategic debt with caution. They don't ignore bills, they pay them on time. They don't buy luxuries they cannot afford, they wait until assets can fund luxuries. Acting financially smart in this way builds credibility, lowers stress, and sets the stage for wealth. Financial intelligence also means living below your means. Many people increase their spending every time their income increases. They get a raise, and they buy a new car. They earn a bonus, and they book an expensive trip. Acting financially smart means resisting that instead of spending everything, you keep your lifestyle simple and direct the extra income toward savings and investments. The wealthy become wealthy not by spending every dollar they earn, but by consistently investing and allowing money to grow. Another part of financial intelligence is tracking progress. Just as a student tracks grades and an athlete tracks performance, a financially smart person tracks income, expenses, savings, and growth. You cannot improve what you do not measure. By looking honestly at your numbers each month, you learn where you are strong and where you are careless. This self-awareness prevents surprises and allows you to adjust before small mistakes become big disasters. Acting financially smart also means educating yourself. Money has rules, and those who learn the rules can win the game. Read books about finance, study successful people. Learn about investing, taxes, and financial planning. Ignorance is expensive, knowledge saves money, and opens opportunity. Even if you are not an expert, building a little knowledge each week compounds into financial wisdom over time. The smart person never stops learning about money, because money is always changing, and those who adapt survive. Generosity is another part of financial intelligence. It may sound strange, but people who act financially smart often give. They give to causes, to family, to community. Why? Because giving trains the mind to see money as abundant, not scarce. Generosity builds character and reputation. People trust a generous person, and trust often creates opportunities. The key is to give responsibly, not recklessly. You don't give so much that you damage your future, but you give enough to create impact. The long-term goal of acting financially smart is freedom. Freedom means you are no longer trading every hour for money. Freedom means your investments, your savings, and your financial discipline create income for you, even when you are not working. At this stage, money works for you instead of the other way around. You wake up with choices. You can decide how to spend your day, not because you are escaping responsibility, but because your discipline has given you control. To reach this point, you must be patient. Quick wealth is often unstable. Discipline and consistency build wealth that lasts. Many people chase fast money, only to lose it just as quickly. Acting financially smart means you build slow, steady, strong habits. You focus less on impressing others with what you buy and more on building security for your future. The flashy spender looks rich for a moment, but the disciplined saver and investor becomes truly wealthy over time. There will be temptations along the way. You will see others living luxuriously while you choose discipline. You may feel pressure to keep up, but remember this: appearances do not equal success. Many who look rich are buried in debt. Many who seem ordinary are quietly building real wealth. Acting financially smart means you keep your eyes on your future instead of being distracted by the surface appearances of others. Money is emotional. It carries stress, pride, fear, and desire. To act financially smart, you must learn to master those emotions. Do not buy out of envy. Do not overspend out of insecurity. Do not chase quick gains out of greed. Instead, let every decision come from clarity and purpose. Emotional discipline with money is just as important as technical knowledge. Without it, even the smartest person can make foolish mistakes. In time, the rewards of acting financially smart become clear. You have savings for emergencies. You have investments growing quietly in the background. You have fewer debts weighing you down. You live with less stress. You have more choices. And as this continues, money begins to generate money. Interest, dividends, business returns. These streams of income mean your money is working for you. That is the ultimate goal. When you reach that point, you will see that acting financially smart was not about deprivation. It was about direction. It was not about denying yourself joy. It was about building the capacity for greater joy without fear or guilt. Money itself is neutral. How you manage it decides whether it brings freedom or chains. Acting financially smart every day, even in small ways, creates the conditions for freedom. The journey begins with simple acts. Write down your expenses, create a small savings account, pay off one small debt, read one book about finance. Each act builds momentum. Over months and years, these actions accumulate into habits. Habits build discipline. Discipline creates wealth. And wealth, when managed with wisdom, creates freedom. Act financially smart until money works for you. Start with whatever you have. Stay consistent. Protect your future. Over time, you will notice something powerful. You are no longer chasing money. Money is chasing you, and that is when you know you are living successfully, not just surviving.
Chapter 5. Act healthy in choices until energy becomes unstoppable. Energy is the fuel that drives every achievement in life. Without energy, even the best plans remain on paper. Without energy, even the strongest ambitions fade into frustration. To create a life of lasting success, you must act healthy in your daily choices until energy becomes a natural force inside you. This is not about perfection, nor is it about following every health trend you hear. It is about consistently choosing habits that support your body, your mind, and your spirit. When those choices become daily practice, your energy will no longer be an obstacle, it will be your greatest advantage. The way you feel every day is not random. It is the result of what you eat, how you move, how you rest, and how you handle stress. If you eat food that slows you down, you feel heavy and sluggish. If you stay inactive, your body becomes weak. If you neglect rest, your mind loses focus. If you live in constant stress, your spirit becomes tired.
But when you act healthy with deliberate choices, your energy rises. You feel stronger in the morning, sharper in the afternoon, calmer at night. That is the power of building health into your lifestyle. It begins with food, because what you put into your body becomes the fuel that runs it. Too many people eat for comfort. Instead of eating for energy, they choose what is quick, cheap, or tasty in the moment, without thinking about how it will make them feel later. Acting healthy means asking, will this food give me strength, or will it steal it? Fresh foods, fruits, vegetables, proteins, and clean water build energy. Heavy sugar, processed meals, and constant junk food drain it. You don't need to be extreme. Small daily improvements create big changes. Add one healthier meal, replace one unhealthy snack, drink more water. Every choice matters, because every choice shapes your energy. Movement is another pillar of energy. A body that doesn't move begins to lose its vitality. Many people say they are too tired to exercise, but the truth is they are too tired because they don't exercise. Movement creates energy. It builds strength, improves circulation, sharpens focus, and reduces stress. Acting healthy means making movement a regular part of your day. You don't need to become an athlete. You just need to move enough to keep your body alive and active. Walk more, stretch, do simple workouts, lift something, play a sport. Your energy will grow as your body remembers what it feels like to be alive. Rest is just as important as food and exercise. In today's world, many people sacrifice sleep as if it doesn't matter. They stay up late, wake up tired, and live each day half asleep. But when you act healthy, you respect rest. You create routines that allow your body to recharge fully. A good night's sleep restores energy, heals the body, and clears the mind. Without it, no amount of coffee or motivation can sustain you. Acting healthy in this area means making choices that protect your rest. Turn off screens earlier. Create a calm environment before bed. Value sleep as an investment, not a waste of time. Stress is another silent thief of energy. Even if you eat well, move daily, and rest deeply, constant stress can exhaust you. Acting healthy means learning to manage stress in ways that do not destroy your body or spirit. Some people turn to unhealthy escapes, junk food, alcohol, endless scrolling, but these only add to the problem. A healthy response to stress might be breathing exercises, journaling, talking with someone you trust, or spending time outdoors. These choices calm the mind, relax the body, and renew energy instead of draining it further. Acting healthy is not just about the physical body, it also includes mental choices. The thoughts you allow shape your energy as much as the food you eat. Negative thoughts, constant worry, and self-criticism exhaust you. Positive focus, gratitude, and constructive thinking energize you. Acting healthy in your mind means feeding yourself ideas that lift you up. Read something that teaches you. Listen to words that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who encourage you instead of draining you. This mental nutrition is just as powerful as physical nutrition. In the beginning, acting healthy may feel like a challenge. You may crave the old habits. You may feel resistance to exercise or to waking up earlier. But remember, you are not aiming for perfection. You are building momentum. Every time you choose water over soda, you are acting healthy. Every time you go for a walk instead of sitting idle, you are acting healthy. Every time you choose rest over late-night distractions, you are acting healthy. These choices add up until one day, energy becomes your natural state. When you act healthy consistently, something powerful happens. You begin to notice that your energy is no longer dependent on luck or mood. You wake up with more vitality. You go through your day with more focus. You face challenges with more resilience. This energy does not just help your health, it improves your work, your relationships, your goals, your entire life. Energy is the foundation that allows you to give more, achieve more, and enjoy more. The people around you notice as well. They see the difference in your appearance, your attitude, and your presence. Acting healthy builds confidence because you feel good in your own skin. When you feel strong and energized, you show up differently. You speak with more clarity. You work with more intensity. You carry yourself with assurance. This creates opportunities because the world responds positively to energy. Another benefit of acting healthy is that it gives you control. Many people feel like victims of their own body. They complain about fatigue, aches, or low mood. But when you act healthy, you realize that your daily choices have power. You don't need to accept constant tiredness as normal. You don't need to accept poor health as destiny. By acting healthy in simple, consistent ways, you take control of your life. This sense of control builds confidence and reinforces discipline. The road is not without setbacks. You may slip into unhealthy eating. You may skip workouts. You may stay up too late. That is normal. What matters is not perfection, but persistence. Acting healthy means you return to the good choices again and again until they outweigh the bad. Over time, the healthy actions become habits. Habits become identity, and identity shapes destiny. Acting healthy is also about balance. Extreme approaches often fail because they are too rigid. People who punish themselves with strict diets or excessive routines eventually give up. Acting healthy means making choices that are sustainable for the long term. You eat well most of the time, but allow occasional treats. You exercise regularly, but give your body rest when it needs it. You stay disciplined without being harsh. Balance makes health enjoyable instead of exhausting. Energy becomes unstoppable when you treat it as a priority. It is not enough to hope for it. You must create it. Every meal, every movement, every rest, every thought is an opportunity to build energy. When you repeat these healthy choices daily, your energy no longer depends on willpower. It becomes who you are. At that point, people will look at you and wonder how you do it, how you manage to stay so vibrant, how you maintain such focus. But you will know the truth. It was not magic. It was the result of acting healthy until energy became your natural strength. Your success in life is tied to your energy. With more energy, you can work harder, think clearer, love deeper, and live fuller. Without energy, even small tasks feel overwhelming. This is why acting healthy is not optional. It is essential. The healthier your choices, the stronger your foundation. And the stronger your foundation, the greater your potential. Act healthy in choices until energy becomes unstoppable. Protect your body, sharpen your mind, and nurture your spirit. Each decision matters. Each choice shapes your future. Start small, stay consistent, and keep going until health is no longer something you act out but something you live. When that day comes, your energy will no longer hold you back. It will carry you forward into every success you desire.
Chapter 6. Act skilled in your work until mastery is obvious. Skill is the difference between being average and being excellent. People may admire enthusiasm, they may enjoy passion, but what they truly respect is ability. When you act skilled in your work, even before you feel like an expert, you send a message to the world that you take your craft seriously. Mastery is not something that appears overnight. It is the result of discipline, repetition, learning, and constant improvement. But until mastery is obvious to everyone around you, you must act skilled as though you already belong at the top. This is how confidence grows, this is how opportunities arrive, and this is how competence becomes visible. Every profession, every craft, every path requires skills. Some people enter their work waiting for someone else to teach them everything.
Others take ownership. They study, they practice, they test, and they apply. Acting skilled means you don't wait for approval before you deliver excellence. It means you approach every task with care, precision, and intention. When people see that level of effort, they begin to trust your abilities, even if you are still learning. Consider the psychology at play. People believe what they see. If you show up unprepared, fumbling through tasks, delivering half-finished work, they assume you lack skill. But if you show up prepared, paying attention to details, presenting yourself with confidence, and finishing your work to the best of your ability, they assume you are capable. That belief creates opportunities for you to grow into the mastery you're working toward. You act skilled until your skill speaks for itself. Acting skilled starts with preparation. A person who prepares communicates competence before they even begin. If you are giving a presentation, preparation means rehearsing until your delivery is smooth. If you are in a trade, preparation means having the right tools ready. If you are in business, preparation means knowing your numbers, your strategy, and your goals. Preparation signals seriousness, and seriousness signals skill. But acting skilled also involves constant learning. The world is changing quickly, and those who stop learning fall behind. Acting skilled means you treat every experience as a classroom. You read books, you take courses, you seek mentors, you watch others who excel, and you study their methods. You don't wait for learning to come to you, you chase it. This hunger to learn eventually sets you apart, because most people are content with the minimum. Practice is another non-negotiable part of skill. You cannot act skilled without putting in the hours. Every athlete, every musician, every professional reaches competence only after thousands of repetitions. Acting skilled means practicing even when no one is watching. It means giving full effort even on the small tasks. The person who sharpens their skills daily eventually makes mastery look effortless. But the truth is, it only looks effortless because of endless hours of unseen work. Feedback is also essential. Many people fear criticism, but those who act skilled seek it out. They want to know where they can improve. They are not fragile when someone points out weaknesses. They are grateful. This attitude accelerates growth. Acting skilled means being humble enough to admit you don't know everything, but determined enough to keep learning until you do. Mastery requires humility, because only humility keeps the door open for progress. Your attitude toward details also reveals your skill. Sloppy work sends the message that you don't care. Careful work sends the message that you are skilled. Acting skilled means respecting the small details others ignore. It means double-checking your work. It means delivering quality even when the task seems minor. Over time, this builds a reputation. People will say, if you want it done right, give it to them. That reputation is worth more than talent. Confidence is a part of acting skilled, but it must be balanced with substance. Confidence without skill is arrogance, but skill without confidence is wasted. You must project assurance in your work. Stand by what you produce. Speak clearly about what you know. When others see you trust your own skill, they trust it too. Confidence becomes the bridge between your current abilities and the mastery you're aiming for. Discipline also shapes skill. The world is full of people with talent, but little discipline. Talent may open a door, but discipline keeps it open. Acting skilled means you show up on time. You deliver consistently, and you meet deadlines. You keep promises. You do not excuse laziness. This consistency builds a reputation of professionalism. Over time, this reputation is indistinguishable from mastery itself. Another part of acting skilled is innovation. Don't just repeat what everyone else is doing. Look for ways to improve, simplify, or create new solutions. Even small improvements show initiative. People notice when you bring new ideas to the table. They see you as a person who doesn't just follow instructions, but elevates the work. Innovation is proof that you are not satisfied with mediocrity, and that mindset accelerates mastery. Relationships also play a role. Acting skilled in your work means treating colleagues, clients, and partners with professionalism and respect. The way you communicate, the way you listen, the way you collaborate, all reflect your level of skill. People want to work with those who are reliable, respectful, and effective. No matter how talented you are, poor relationships can ruin opportunities. Skill is not only technical, it is also emotional and social. When you act skilled, you build credibility, and credibility is the currency that buys trust, influence, and opportunity. With credibility, people recommend you, promote you, and invest in you. Without it, even your talent may go unnoticed. Acting skilled every day, through preparation, discipline, learning, and excellence, steadily builds this credibility until it becomes undeniable. The journey to mastery is long, and many people quit because they do not see quick rewards. But if you keep acting skilled, showing up with excellence each day, you will gradually rise above the average. People will start turning to you for answers. They will recognize your competence. They will trust your judgment, and eventually, they will see you as a master in your field. At that point, you will no longer need to act. The mastery will be obvious. Acting skilled in your work also transforms your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone just trying to get by, and you begin to see yourself as a professional, a leader, an expert in progress. That shift in identity fuels motivation. It pushes you to hold yourself to higher standards. You no longer accept sloppy work from yourself because it doesn't align with who you are becoming. Acting skilled until mastery is obvious means you continually raise the bar for yourself. And let us not forget the reward. Mastery brings confidence, respect, income, and freedom. People pay more for skill. They trust those who are skilled. They follow those who demonstrate mastery. When your work is excellent, opportunities chase you. You no longer have to beg for them. This is why acting skilled is one of the most powerful investments you can make. The process is simple, but not easy. Show up every day with preparation. Practice until your skills grow. Seek feedback and adjust. Respect the details. Carry yourself with confidence. Learn continuously. Innovate when possible. Treat others with professionalism. Repeat this process again and again. At first it may feel like acting. Over time, it becomes reality, and eventually, the results will speak so loudly that no one can deny your mastery. So act skilled in your work until mastery is obvious. Do not wait for recognition before you deliver excellence. Do not wait for experience before you prepare fully. Act now. Show up as though you are already among the best. That act will shape your habits. Your habits will build your skill, and your skill will create a reputation that makes mastery undeniable. Success will follow naturally, because the world always rewards those who master their work.
Chapter 7. Act respectful with others until trust builds your name. Respect is the foundation of every strong relationship, every thriving business, and every lasting reputation. When you act respectful with others, you plant seeds that grow into trust, loyalty, and influence. Without respect, even the most talented person loses credibility. Without respect, opportunities close, friendships weaken, and partnerships fail. Acting respectful does not mean you agree with everyone or let people walk over you. It means you treat others with dignity, fairness, and honesty. Over time, those actions build your name into something people value and remember.
Human beings are deeply sensitive to how they are treated. People may forget the words you speak, but they never forget how you made them feel. When you act respectful, you create a space where others feel safe, heard, and valued. That feeling builds connection, and connection is the currency of trust. When people trust you, they recommend you, they support you, they give you chances that others do not receive. Respect builds bridges that no amount of money or skill can buy. Acting respectful begins with listening. Most people listen only to respond. A respectful person listens to understand. When someone speaks, you give them your full attention. You don't interrupt, you don't dismiss, you don't look away. You show with your presence that their voice matters. This simple act is powerful. People who feel heard automatically feel respected. And when they feel respected, they begin to trust you. Respect also shows in the way you speak. Words carry weight. The tone you use, the level of courtesy, the choice of language, all of these communicate respect or disrespect. Acting respectful means speaking with calmness, even when you disagree. It means avoiding insults, sarcasm, or necessary harshness. Strong people can correct, guide, and even criticize without destroying dignity. When you do this, you prove you value the person, even if you challenge their behavior. That balance creates deep trust. Another part of respect is honesty. Respectful people do not deceive or manipulate. They tell the truth, even when it is difficult. But they tell it in a way that preserves the other person's dignity. When you act honest and transparent, people trust your word. They know you will not mislead them. In a world full of false promises, honesty stands out. Acting respectful in this way builds a reputation that lasts longer than any short-term advantage gained by dishonesty. Respect extends to small actions, saying thank you, holding a door, remembering someone's name, acknowledging effort. These actions may seem small, but they have a powerful effect. People are moved by gestures that show recognition. A respectful person notices details others overlook. They give appreciation generously. They don't take people for granted. Over time, this habit creates a network of goodwill. When your name is mentioned, people respond with warmth because they remember how you treated them. Acting respectful also means valuing differences. People come from different backgrounds, cultures, and beliefs. Disrespect begins when we assume our way is the only way. Respect begins when we allow others to be different without devaluing them. This doesn't mean you must agree with every opinion. It means you recognize the right of others to see the world in their way. When you show this maturity, people of all kinds are drawn to you. They see you as fair and open-minded. That builds trust across boundaries that often divide people. Respect shows itself in consistency. If you are respectful only to those above you, but dismissive to those below you, people notice. True respect means treating everyone with dignity, regardless of position or status. The way you treat a waiter, a janitor, or a stranger reveals more about your character than how you treat a boss or a celebrity. Acting respectful consistently proves that your values are genuine, and people respect authenticity. Conflict is one of the greatest tests of respect. Anyone can be respectful when things are easy, but when disagreements arise, emotions flare, and tempers rise, that is when your true character is revealed. Acting respectful in conflict means staying calm, not attacking personally, and focusing on solutions instead of blame. It means refusing to escalate and instead choosing to de-escalate. When you handle conflict respectfully, even opponents begin to trust you. They may disagree with you, but they cannot deny your integrity. Respect also shows in the way you manage promises. If you say you will do something, do it. If you cannot, communicate honestly. Broken promises are a form of disrespect. They signal that the other person's time or trust does not matter to you. Acting respectful means you treat commitments as sacred. You arrive on time. You deliver what you promised. You follow through. These simple acts build a reputation of reliability. Reliability and respect are inseparable. When you act respectful with others, the effect multiplies. Those you treat well speak about you to others. They tell stories of your kindness, your fairness, your integrity. Over time, your name becomes associated with trust. This reputation reaches places you may never step foot in. Opportunities appear because someone who respected you spoke on your behalf. That is the hidden power of respect. It travels further than you can imagine. Respect is not weakness. Some confuse kindness with softness, but respect is strength, under control. It takes maturity to remain calm when insulted. It takes discipline to be fair when treated unfairly. It takes courage to speak truth without cruelty. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strength. People admire those who can stand firm without being harsh, who can disagree without being disrespectful. That admiration creates influence. Acting respectful also protects your own peace of mind. Disrespect creates tension, conflict, and hostility. Respect creates harmony, cooperation, and goodwill. When you choose respect, you reduce unnecessary battles. You focus your energy on progress instead of drama. Over time, your life becomes lighter, calmer, and more focused on growth. This is not just good for your relationships, it is good for your health and happiness. Building respect into your daily actions requires mindfulness. Notice how you treat people when you are busy, tired, or stressed. Often, disrespect sneaks in when patience is low. Acting respectful means choosing kindness, even in difficult moments. It means pausing before reacting, breathing before responding, and remembering that every person has struggles you may not see. This awareness allows you to act with compassion instead of frustration. As respect grows into habit, trust becomes natural. People begin to trust your word, your actions, and your intentions. Trust is the foundation of leadership, influence, and success. You cannot buy it, and you cannot demand it. You earn it through consistent respect. Over time, this trust builds your name into something powerful. When people hear your name, they associate it with fairness, reliability, and integrity. That reputation opens doors that talent alone cannot. The ultimate reward of acting respectful is legacy. Long after specific achievements are forgotten, people remember character. They remember how you treated them, how you made them feel, and how you carried yourself. Acting respectful ensures that your legacy is one of dignity and trust. Success without respect is hollow, but success built on respect is lasting. Act respectful with others until trust builds your name. Begin with listening. Speak with kindness. Keep your promises. Value differences. Respect everyone, not just a few. Handle conflict with maturity. Protect your commitments. Do these things consistently, and your name will carry weight. It will represent trust in every room you enter, even when you are not present. That is the power of respect. That is how you build a life that others admire, remember, and honor.
Chapter 8. Act patient with progress until growth becomes steady. Patience is one of the rarest strengths in a world that constantly pushes for quick fixes and instant rewards. Yet, lasting success has always belonged to those who understand the power of waiting while working. When you act patient with progress, you refuse the illusion of overnight results and instead commit yourself to steady improvement. Growth is not immediate, but it is certain for those who stay disciplined long enough. Acting patient with progress allows you to keep building even when the results seem small, and eventually those small gains create a strong foundation for success. Impatience is the silent enemy of growth.
It whispers in your ear that you are not moving fast enough, that you should give up, that others are ahead of you. Impatience destroys motivation because it convinces you that effort is wasted if results don't appear quickly. But nothing meaningful comes instantly. A career takes years of learning. A relationship takes years of trust. A business takes years of struggle. A skill takes years of practice. Acting patient means you give your work the time it needs to develop without losing faith in the process. Patience is not sitting back and doing nothing. Patience is active. It is working hard, staying disciplined, and trusting that the results will follow in their season. When you act patient with progress, you measure success not by what happens in 1 week or 1 month, but by the steady improvements over months and years. This mindset keeps you moving forward instead of quitting halfway. The truth is, most people never fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack patience. They stop too soon, right before the breakthrough would have come. Growth is invisible in the beginning. You may be learning, practicing, and struggling every day, but you cannot yet see the change. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it isn't happening. Progress builds beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Acting patient means accepting this reality. You keep showing up, even when you feel unseen. You keep practicing even when no one applauds. You keep pushing even when you are the only one who notices. Over time, the results catch up to your effort, but only if you give them enough time. Patience protects you from discouragement. Life will test you with delays, setbacks, and challenges. Without patience, you will see these as proof that success is impossible. With patience, you see them as part of the process. You recognize that growth is rarely a straight line. Some days you move forward, some days you stand still, and some days you slip back. Acting patient means you stay calm in all three. You don't panic when progress is slow. You don't quit when progress pauses. You don't lose faith when mistakes happen. You keep steady because you know consistency always wins in the end. Patience also changes how you see comparison. Many people look at others and feel like they are behind. They rush to catch up, forcing shortcuts that break their foundation. Acting patient with progress means you stop competing with someone else's timeline. You recognize that growth is personal. Your path is your own. Comparing your chapter 2 with someone else's chapter 20 only creates frustration. Patience allows you to honor your journey without envy or panic. This calmness gives you freedom to focus on improving, rather than competing. Another reason patience is powerful is that it deepens learning. When you want results immediately, you cut corners, you skip important lessons, you rush the process. But when you act patient, you take time to master each step. You understand that small improvements repeated over time are more powerful than quick, unstable leaps. For example, learning a new skill requires patience. At first you will make mistakes, you will feel awkward, you will doubt yourself. But by staying patient, you eventually reach a point where the skill becomes natural. If you quit too soon, you never get there. Patience also builds character. A patient person learns humility, discipline, and endurance. They learn to handle frustration without breakers. They learn to wait without giving up. These qualities spill over into every area of life. Patience with your goals teaches you patience with people. Patience with yourself teaches you patience with challenges. And patience with progress teaches you gratitude for every small step forward. This character is as valuable as the results themselves because it makes you strong enough to sustain success once you achieve it. When you act patient with progress, you begin to notice the beauty of steady growth. You appreciate small wins instead of ignoring them. You celebrate the fact that you are further along than you were yesterday, even if you are not yet where you want to be. This mindset creates motivation instead of frustration. It keeps your energy strong because you focus on what is working rather than what is missing. Over time, this gratitude builds momentum. You stop obsessing over speed and you start building consistency. Acting patient also protects you from burnout. Many people push too hard in the beginning, expecting instant transformation. They exhaust themselves with unrealistic expectations, and when results don't show up fast enough, they collapse. Patience prevents this. It allows you to pace yourself, to balance intensity with recovery, to stay steady for the long run. Success is not a sprint, it is a marathon. Only patience keeps you running strong until the finish line. There is also a deeper psychological truth. Patience increases confidence. Every time you endure a delay, without giving up, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your impulses. You learn to control your emotions, instead of letting them control you. This inner strength becomes confidence. You know you can handle setbacks because you have practiced patience before. You know you can wait for results because you have trained your mind not to demand them instantly. Confidence built on patience is unshakable. In relationships, patience builds trust. When you act patient with people's growth, they feel supported instead of pressured. When you act patient with yourself, you reduce frustration and increase resilience. This trust, whether with others or with yourself, creates stability. And stability is what makes growth steady instead of fragile. Acting patient with progress also helps you avoid regret. Many people quit just before success arrives. They look back years later and wonder what would have happened if they had continued. Patience protects you from this regret because it keeps you moving forward even when progress is slow. You don't give up halfway. You don't sabotage yourself with impatience. You stay in the process long enough to see the results. Patience also creates wisdom. By waiting, observing, and learning, you notice patterns that others miss. You see what works and what doesn't. You develop insight that only time can give. This wisdom allows you to make better decisions, avoid mistakes, and build stronger foundations. Acting patient means you are not rushing blindly, but moving with awareness and clarity. That awareness multiplies the value of your progress. When you finally begin to see steady growth, you realize patience was worth it. The progress feels more rewarding because you know how much effort it took. The results feel more meaningful because you earned them through persistence. The growth feels more steady because you built it carefully, not recklessly. At that moment, you understand that patience was not just waiting. It was strength, it was discipline, it was commitment. Act patient with progress until growth becomes steady. Remind yourself that every small effort adds up. Train yourself to see value in gradual improvement. Stay steady even when results are invisible. Focus on building consistency instead of chasing speed. With time, the growth will appear, and it will be strong enough to last. Patience is not weakness. It is the secret weapon of those who achieve greatness without collapsing under pressure. Your dreams deserve time. Your goals deserve patience. Your progress deserves steady commitment. If you act patient every day, you will one day look back and see that the slow, steady path brought you exactly where you wanted to be. And when that day comes, your growth will not only be steady, it will be unshakable.
Chapter 9. Act unstoppable in action until fear has no hold. Fear is a powerful emotion. It holds people back more than lack of knowledge, more than lack of resources, more than lack of talent. Fear whispers doubts, magnifies risks, and convinces people to stay still when they should be moving forward. But fear only has power if you stop acting. The moment you act, fear begins to lose its grip. That is why you must act unstoppable in your actions, until fear has no hold. When you keep moving, no matter how uncertain you feel, you prove to yourself that fear does not decide your future. You do.
Most people wait for fear to disappear before they take action. They think confidence must come first, courage must come first, clarity must come first. But if you wait for fear to vanish, you will wait forever. Fear does not disappear before action. It disappears because of action. Acting unstoppable means you take steps forward, even while fear is present. You do not deny the fear. You simply refuse to let it freeze you. Every step you take weakens fear's voice, and every action builds momentum. Unstoppable action does not mean reckless action. It means consistent forward motion, despite doubt. It means doing what you can with what you have, even if the conditions are not perfect. Fear thrives on hesitation. The longer you wait, the bigger fear grows in your mind. But when you move quickly and decisively, fear has no time to control you. That is why unstoppable people are not necessarily fearless. They just refuse to stand still. Acting unstoppable requires a shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on what might go wrong, focus on what might go right. Instead of imagining failure, imagine the possibilities of success. Fear exaggerates danger, but action brings reality into focus. Often the task is not as impossible as your mind made it seem. Taking the first step reveals that the mountain is smaller than the shadow it cast. When you act unstoppable, you discover that most fears are illusions, not truths. The body plays a role here. Fear often shows up physically. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your breathing shortens. Many people interpret these signals as proof they should stop, but those are simply signs that your body is preparing you for action. When you act despite those signals, you train your body to see fear differently. You teach yourself that nervousness is not danger, it is energy. And when you channel that energy into action, it becomes fuel instead of a barrier. Fear often hides behind perfectionism. You tell yourself you will act once everything is ready, once the plan is perfect, once you know more. But the truth is, perfection never arrives. Waiting for it only strengthens fear. Acting unstoppable means starting before you feel ready. You refine along the way. You improve as you go. Fear cannot survive in a mind that is too busy acting to wait for perfect conditions. Another way fear loses control is through repetition. The first time you take a risk, fear feels overwhelming. The second time it feels lighter. The 10th time you hardly notice it. This is how courage is built through practice. Acting unstoppable in your actions means exposing yourself repeatedly to the things that once scared you until they no longer have power. Public speaking, starting a business, having a hard conversation, whatever it is, the more you do it, the less fear controls you. Unstoppable action also requires clarity of purpose. When your why is strong, fear becomes weaker. If you act without purpose, fear easily convinces you to quit. But when you know why you are moving forward, you endure discomfort because the goal matters more than the fear. Acting unstoppable means keeping your vision in front of you, so fear has no chance to distract you. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you the timing isn't right, the resources aren't enough, the risks are too high. But if you examine closely, you will see that these are excuses rooted in doubt. Acting unstoppable does not mean ignoring risks. It means refusing to let fear exaggerate them into paralysis. You acknowledge challenges, prepare wisely, and then act anyway. The act itself builds resilience. The more you act, the more you build trust in yourself. Fear is strongest when you doubt your own abilities. Every action you take, no matter how small, proves to your mind that you are capable. This self-trust grows until fear can no longer convince you otherwise. You begin to carry an inner belief that says, I can handle this, I have done hard things before, and I will do hard things again. That belief makes you unstoppable. Acting unstoppable also changes how others see you. People respect action. They trust those who move forward despite obstacles. They admire courage more than hesitation. When you show consistent action, even when others know you are afraid, you inspire confidence. Opportunities often come to those who act, not those who wait. The world rewards motion, because motion creates progress. Unstoppable action requires discipline. Fear can return at any time, even after victories. But discipline ensures you keep moving regardless. Discipline is choosing action, even on the days you don't feel brave. It is choosing progress over comfort. It is keeping promises to yourself even when fear whispers excuses. Discipline builds the habit of action until it becomes automatic. At that point, fear may knock, but you no longer open the door. Fear loses its grip when you face it directly. Avoiding fear only makes it larger. Acting unstoppable means leaning into what scares you. If you fear rejection, you make the call. If you fear speaking, you raise your hand. If you fear failing, you try anyway. Each direct confrontation weakens fear's control. Over time you realize fear is nothing more than a shadow that vanishes under the light of action. Unstoppable action also builds resilience. Fear often exaggerates the pain of failure. But when you take action and experience setbacks, you discover they are survivable. You realize mistakes do not destroy you, they teach you. Each failure becomes evidence that you can endure and adapt. This resilience makes fear less convincing, because you know you can recover no matter what happens. Patience plays a role as well. Acting unstoppable is not about sprinting endlessly. It is about consistent steps, day after day, despite fear. Even small actions add up. One conversation, one task, one step forward every day creates unstoppable momentum. Fear cannot stop someone who refuses to stop themselves. Over time, the identity of an unstoppable person replaces the identity of a fearful one. At first, you may feel like you are pretending, but with enough action, it becomes who you are. You stop seeing yourself as someone controlled by fear and start seeing yourself as someone who acts no matter what. This identity shift is powerful because once you see yourself as unstoppable, fear has no way to argue against it. The ultimate reward of acting unstoppable is freedom. Fear no longer dictates your choices. You are free to take risks, to chase dreams, to face challenges without hesitation. You are free to live fully, instead of hiding. This freedom is not given. It is earned through relentless action. Act unstoppable in action, until fear has no hold. Begin even when you feel uncertain. Move forward even when your heart races. Trust that every action builds strength and weakens fear. Do not wait for fear to vanish, it won't. But with enough action, it will shrink until it can no longer control you. And when that day comes, you will know that unstoppable action was not just about achievement. It was about reclaiming your power from fear and proving that you are always stronger than you imagine.
Chapter 10. Act successful in habits until success becomes permanent. Success is not built in a single moment. It is not the result of one lucky break or one big opportunity. Success is built in the small decisions you make every single day, the actions you repeat until they become second nature. That is why habits decide destiny. If your habits are strong, success will eventually arrive. If your habits are weak, even the greatest talent or the best intentions cannot hold success in place. You must act successful in your habits until success becomes permanent. That means choosing daily routines that reflect the life you want to live, even before you see the results. Most people underestimate the power of habits because habits don't show immediate results. One healthy meal doesn't transform your body. 1 hour of study doesn't make you an expert. One disciplined day doesn't build a business, but repeated daily, these habits compound into lasting change. The person who acts successful in their habits is building a system that produces results automatically. Instead of relying on motivation,
They rely on structure, and structure is more dependable than emotion. Acting successful in habits begins with clarity. You must know what kind of person you want to become. Do you want to be healthy? Build habits around food, exercise, and rest. Do you want to be financially strong? Build habits around saving, budgeting, and learning about money. Do you want to be respected in your field? Build habits around practice, study, and consistency in your work. Habits are not random. They must align with your vision. When you act successful in habits, you are proving to yourself that your future matters enough to shape your present. The psychology of habits is simple. The brain learns through repetition. Every time you act, you strengthen a pathway. Do it enough, and it becomes automatic. That is why habits are powerful. They allow you to succeed without constant struggle, because you no longer debate whether to act. The habit decides for you. At first, you must push yourself to create the routine. But eventually, the routine pushes you. Acting successful in habits means training yourself until the work feels natural, not forced. Habits also shape identity. If you consistently act in ways that reflect success, your mind begins to see yourself as successful. For example, if you write daily, you begin to see yourself as a writer. If you save money every month, you begin to see yourself as financially responsible. If you train your body consistently, you begin to see yourself as healthy. Acting successful in habits creates a new identity, and once identity shifts, actions follow naturally. To build strong habits, start small. Many people fail because they try to change everything at once. They create massive goals and then collapse under the weight of them. Acting successful in habits means focusing on simple, repeatable actions. Wake up at a set time. Read for 15 minutes a day. Plan tomorrow before you sleep. Save a small percentage of income. These small habits build confidence. They prove you can be consistent. Over time you add more, and the compound effect becomes unstoppable. Another important part of acting successful in habits is discipline with environment. Habits are not just about willpower. They are about structure. If your environment supports your habits, they become easier. If your environment works against them, they become harder. A person who wants to eat healthier should keep nutritious food visible and remove junk from the house. A person who wants to read more should keep books within reach and reduce distractions. Acting successful in habits means designing your environment so success becomes the default choice. Consistency is the secret weapon. A habit done once means nothing. A habit done for a week shows intention. But a habit repeated for months builds transformation. The key is not intensity, but persistence. Acting successful in habits means showing up on the days you don't feel like it. It means keeping the routine even when progress seems invisible. Over time, the consistency turns habits into identity, and identity into destiny. Habits also protect you during difficult times. Life will always bring stress, setbacks, and challenges. Without habits, you will fall into chaos when things get tough. With habits, you maintain stability. You still wake up early. You still exercise. You still review your goals. You still save money. These habits carry you through storms because they anchor your life. Acting successful in habits means building a foundation that keeps you steady no matter what happens outside of you. Another truth about habits is that they multiply. One strong habit creates momentum for others. For example, exercising regularly improves energy, which makes it easier to work, which increases productivity, which improves confidence, which strengthens discipline in other areas. Acting successful in one habit spreads to other parts of life. That is why successful people seem unstoppable. They built strong habits in one area, and the momentum carried into everything else. Acting successful in habits also requires eliminating bad habits. Every habit either builds you up or breaks you down. Watching hours of television, procrastinating, spending recklessly, sleeping too little, these habits eat away at progress. Replacing destructive habits with constructive ones is part of acting successful. It is not enough to add good habits. You must also remove those that hold you back. Success becomes permanent when the balance shifts toward habits that create growth instead of those that create stagnation. Accountability strengthens habits. When you share your goals with someone you trust, you create external motivation. Knowing that someone else is aware of your habits pushes you to stay consistent. But even more powerful is self-accountability. Writing down habits, tracking progress, and reflecting on your daily choices create awareness, and awareness is the enemy of laziness. Acting successful in habits means holding yourself to a standard, even when no one is watching. Habits are not glamorous, they are simple, often boring, repeated actions, but that is their strength. They do not depend on inspiration. They do not depend on luck. They depend on discipline. A successful life is not built on occasional brilliance. It is built on daily habits. Acting successful in habits means choosing the long road of consistency over the short thrill of intensity. The rewards of successful habits are not always immediate, but they are permanent. A person who develops the habit of saving money builds financial freedom. A person who develops the habit of learning builds knowledge that no one can take away. A person who develops the habit of health builds energy that fuels every other goal. A person who develops the habit of respect builds relationships that last. Success becomes permanent when your habits align with your goals so deeply that they run on autopilot. Even when you achieve success, habits matter. Many people reach a goal and then stop doing what got them there. They lose discipline, and success fades. But when success is tied to habits, it cannot fade. Habits keep producing results even after the excitement of the goal is gone. Acting successful in habits means ensuring that success is not a moment in your life, but the structure of your life. To act successful in habits, you must treat every day as practice. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. One missed day is not failure. Giving up is failure. Acting successful means returning to your habits again and again until they become who you are. With time, habits take the effort out of success. You no longer push yourself, they pull you forward. Act successful in habits until success becomes permanent. Build routines that reflect the life you want. Stay consistent even when progress is invisible. Remove habits that weaken you and strengthen those that build you. Shape your environment, track your actions, and stay accountable. Over time, your habits will decide your future, and your future will reflect your habit. When success becomes permanent, you will realize it was not luck, not talent, not opportunity that made the difference. It was the daily choice to act successful in the small things until they created the big thing.